Okay, welcome everyone to the Zerino Zone. And this is the attempt number 10 of recording my voice for scientific purposes. Now, we are apparently at 67% of the save file, but we only have one more word to go. I guess the 75% thing is correct considering 67% rather is correct considering the number of score we have here. But as you can see, we already have most of it done, so proportions. All is up to proportions. Since the first word was easy, count less points than, say, the fifth word. So let us do the sixth word here and finish off this Hexcells, and then we'll move on to Hexcells Plus and eventually to Hexcells Infinite, where we will be doing way more hexes, way more cells. Let's begin. Nothing new this time, just, well, yeah, nothing new. So let's do nothing new and start with the zeros. Love me some yummy zeros. If you didn't know, the name Zerino stems from zero. So that's a piece of flora right there for you. Okay, now what's the good starting point here? Well, both these are good starting points, but I'll begin with the one on the left. See, this 2 right here requires 2 cells to be blue, and it only has 2 adjacent cells to be blue, so we're gonna do that. Satisfying this number 2 diagonal here, so the rest of the diagonal is black cells. Now, this 2 right here requires it to be non-consecutive, so we have the nice arrangement, and also one cell is already uncovered, so we can separate it from the other blue cell, meaning that both corners are true and the middle is false, or rather the corners are blue and the middle is black. Now, this 2 right here is complete, so we mark those as black, and now this 4 right here requires 4 cells to be blue, and so we'll complete it as is. Now for this 3 right here in combination with this 1, see, you cannot have blue cells be down here for this one because if you had, these 2 top cells would be empty. If these 2 cells were to be empty, the 3 would only have this cell to cling on to as blue. So we wouldn't have enough blue cells to completely satisfy it. Which means that one of these here has to be true, blue. So these already marked as black. And now for this right here, since one of these and only one of these can be blue, this one has to be blue itself, so that we can satisfy the 3 with total of 3 blue cells. So this is blue. Completing this 2 right here, bam, and now forcing this one leftover cell to be blue, leftover in this diagonal here, so that it can complete the 2. This in turn completes the 1 and the 3, so both mark this cell as black, and we move on. Next, we have this 4 column right here, so it requires 4 to be blue, which means that 2 need to be down here. Now let's think for a second. If this middle cell was to be blue, both the top and the bottom of this low section would have to be black, because the ones would be already satisfied by the middle cell. If that was to be the case, this 4 would not be satisfied because it would only have 3 blues. So we can infer that this cell is not blue, forcing these 2 to be blue to complete the 4 and the ones on the side, completing all of them. Now this 2 here is complete, so we're gonna mark that, and this 2 requires to be non-consecutive, so we cannot have this cells blue, otherwise it would be stuck together. Now this 2 requires this to be blue, completing this non-consecutive 2. And for now, I think that's it. Because we cannot infer anything further from this. Or we could actually with this 3 right here. See, this is an interesting thing. Because of this one right here, we require this one to be blue. The same with this one, so we will just mirror that for now. Now this 3 requires 2 cells to be blue right here. But I do think we can... we still cannot infer anything here. Or maybe... I think we should. We should be able to. Let me think. If this was to be... well, we need 2 blue cells here because of the 3. So one of them only is gonna be black. But let's think. If this cell was to be black, both this and this would have to be blue. If that was the case, this cell would be also black because the 2 would be completed. Now, for example, if this cell was to be black and the other 2 to be blue, it would be illegal because this 2 would be overloaded. So this cell cannot be black, therefore it has to be blue. Completing this 2 right here. And now completing both of these 2s with this one, so completing the 3. And now completing this 3 with this cell right here. There you go, we can actually do something with this. Now let's move on to the right side. This right here and this one tells me that this cell cannot be blue. If it were to be blue, one of the 2 things would happen. Either this cell would have to be blue as well to satisfy the 2 column and overloading the 1, which is illegal, or this cell would be blue and this would be black, satisfying the 1 but unsatisfying the 2 consecutive because the 2 blue cells would not be consecutive anymore. So we can infer that this cell is not blue by any means. Which means that the only leftover 2 cells in this diagonal have to be blue. What this means is that this 4 is now complete. Because it has 3 down here and 1 up here. So the rest of the cells are black. Now we have a 2 here which is completed. Completable actually with these 2 blue cells. And now we have a consecutive 3 right here, which means that this cell cannot be blue, because if it was to be blue, we would have a non-consecutive 3 blue cells right here, which would make this not happy. So this has to be black, which means that this cell in turn needs this to be blue, completing this other 3, making this black, forcing this to be blue because of the 2, and this to be blue because of the 3. Or both because of the 3. Whatever floats your boat. Now for this 2 right here, it is completed, so we mark that. And now we move on to this column, which is completed. So we mark all of these as black. And now what can we infer from this? We can infer that this column has to only have 1 blue in these 4 positions right here. So let's think. If we were to choose this cell as blue, let's run that. Let's run it out. Words difficult. Thank you. So this cell were to be blue. These would be black because the 1 would already be satisfied. So these 2 would need to be blue because of the 2. The 2 would require 2 blues. And that would be legal because this would be blue and this would be blue, overloading the 2 column. So this cannot be blue. Now, what is the next step? Let's think. If this cell was to be blue... I know. If this cell was to be blue, this would be black. Because the 1 would already be satisfied, and one of these 2 would be blue. With one of these 2 and only one of these 2 being blue to satisfy this 2, this would have to be blue to satisfy this 2. which means that this would be blue and this would be blue, which would make it illegal for the 2 columns. So this cannot be blue, meaning that this is blue because of the one, this is blue because of the other one, and both of these are black because of the middle one, which leaves only one choice for the 2 column, which is this. And now we complete this one, which make this black. And now to complete both these trees, we have to mark all these cells as blue, completing the columns and the trees cells, meaning there's only one cell left over and it needs to complete both these two right here, therefore it is blue. Many points, yum 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 yum. What's 10 minutes in one exercise? Maybe we need to split this video? Maybe, we'll see. Okay, so where can we start here? We only have 5 hints. This is too big to consider. This is too big to consider. This is too big to consider. This is almost not so big, but still we cannot infer which cells are blue and which cell is black. So the only tip left over to start is this one. So what can we infer from this one? We have one blue cell here in the middle, and it's our starting point, because this 6 needs to be consecutive. So if we were to go up, for example, this cell cannot be blue, because if this cell were to be blue, it would had started the 6 consecutive. So we would need to go 6 down, or rather 5 down from the top, and reach the other blue cells so they would be consecutive. But if you count right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, just to make it better, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There are too many cells to make this consecutive with the top cell, so the top cell cannot be blue. Spawning at 0, spawning at non-consecutive 2. This is a nice arrangement. The corners are true, the middle is not, which means that this column is now complete. And also means that this 0 is complete, which also means that this 0 requires black cells. Now, for this 0 right here, we need to complete it with this one, which makes this black because of the other one, which makes this blue because of the 2. We can go further with this 6 right here, and we're gonna do that. We need to have 6 consecutive cells here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you have this, you can calculate which cells could be blue and which cells have to be blue. For example, if this was to be blue, the bottom cell, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We would go up to here. So this one has to be blue if the bottom one is blue. Now if the top one is blue, we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to be blue. Which means that these cells and this cell would always be blue independent of where we said start 6. So these, always blue. Okay, now let's go for this one right here. It needs this to be blue. And what else can we infer from here? Let's see, this has 2 available cells, this has 2 available cells, this has 2 available cells. For one more. We have to do big thing right here. What can we infer? I know. This cell right here, could it be black? Now let's think about it. If this cell was to be black, this 2 would require this other 2 to be blue. Which means this would be black and this would be blue, breaking the consecutiveness of this arrangement. So this cannot be black, so it needs to be blue. Which means that this can no longer be blue, because if this was to be blue, we would already have 6 in this column, and they would not be consecutive. So this, not blue. Now spawns a 2, which requires these two to be blue, and it completes a lot of things. First is complete this one, or makes this one completable through here, which completes the other one, which completes the other one. And we stop there, I think. It also completes this 2 right here, which forces this to be blue to complete the other 2, which forces this to be black, which forces these 2 to be blue, completing this and this. Now this is completed, we mark that. This is completed, we mark that. This is completable, we mark this. This one's also completed, so we mark all of this as black. This one is also completed, so we mark this as black. Spawns 0, nice 0. Now this one right here requires this to be blue, completing this one column. Spawning one that is already completed. Spawning another one that is already completed. Another one that forces a blue to complete the other one. So many ones. Now this 4 requires all of these to be blue. And I think that's about where we'll stop, because there are no hints that affect this cell right here. Yet. So now this one is completed, so we mark that. 2 with a nice arrangement, the corners are true. 1 is completed, we mark that. This 3 right here has an interaction with this other 3 right here. This 3 right here requires one of these to be blue and only one of these to be blue. And since one of these will be blue for sure, it will complete this other 3 right here, because it has 1, 2, and 3 right here. So this one is not blue, which makes this blue. I think that's where we'll stop for now. But this middle column here also completed. Well, what's stemmed from this column also completed is this 3 column right here. It already has 3 blues completing it. So we'll mark this as black and mark the column as completed. Oh, and voila. One thing, the first thing you should mention actually is that this column right here is completed. It already has 6 blue cells. So this black, this blue, this black, this blue, this black, completing all relevant members cells. So now this one is completed, we'll mark this as black. This 3 requires completion from this, which completes this one, which completes the other one. Spawns 2, which cannot be consecutive, so we mark this one. Forcing this to be blue to complete the 3. Completing 2, forcing this to be blue to complete the non-consecutive 2. Completing the 1, forcing this to be blue to complete the 2. And this 2 is now completed. Both of these ones are completed. Now this 2 right here is completed as well. So we mark this, spawns a nice 0 for us. Non-consecutive 2 with a nice arrangement. Remember, the nice arrangement is having all consecutive cells that are 1 more than the number inside. So the corners are true. Blue, I mean. Spawns a 2, which is already completed. Spawns a consecutive 3, so we can just follow along this blue cell that starts it and color them as blue. Making this black. And now these 2 blue because of this 2 right here. So now this is completed, which spawns a complete 1, which interacts with the 3 since one of these will be blue. We can follow from down here. 2 is completed, 3 is completed, and now all these 3 require this to be blue. This 3 has to be completed here, this one is completed, this 2 is completed, this 2 is completable, this one is completed. And now we're gonna have to do a big thing right here. So we have 2 consecutive 2s right here and 1 column of 2. So one of these cells is gonna be black. And may I indulge you in thought, what if this cell was black? Well, if this cell was black, both of these would be blue, satisfying this 2 right here. But this would break the consecutiveness, this cell being black would break the consecutiveness of this blue. So this is illegal to be black. The same is true for this one right here because it just mirrored upside down. So this also has to be blue, completing this column of 2 and forcing these ones to be blue to complete 2s. Completing this column, we fade it out, and now this form right here requires these 2 to be blue. And look, 2 cells remaining, both right and left, and only 1 hint left for us, which is the remaining count. This tells us how many blue cells are left to be marked, and since there are only 2 available cells to be marked, they both have to be blue. Excellent. This looks very nice, and I think we'll spend the rest of our time here. Where can we possibly start this thing? I spot a 0, so let's start with that. Okay, now this requires both these to be blue. This is a 0, nice zeros, nice ones. 2 requires both, 2 requires both. Now let's go to this 4. If this cell was to be blue to satisfy the 1, we would need to have both of these as blue to be consecutive, but no more cells available to be completely consecutive in this diagonal 4. So this cannot be blue. Therefore this is blue, and these are blue to complete the consecutive 4. For the rest of this, black. Nice here right here. Follow along the tree of zeros until we reach 1. Now, let's look over this 4. It already has 1 blue, so all we need to do is connect it with the other 3 blues, and the rest are black. Follow the column of zeros until we reach 1. This one's completed, and to complete this column of 2, we need U. This column now requires 1 to be completed, which is U. I was thinking about this diagonal already. Since it needs 6, it has 1, 2, 3 already. And it only has 1, 2, 3 more to go. So, all of these, blue. This, however, is already completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blues, so the rest are black. Now if you look over to this one right here, it already has 2, 1 here and 1 here, so mark those as black. Follow the tree of zeros until we reach 1. And put a nice 2 here. Now what do we have? We have this form right here which is completed. We have this one right here which is completable. 1 down, 3 to go. This one right here only has 1 possibility, so we do that. This 2 right here cannot be consecutive, so we separate this cell. Get a completed 1, get a 0, get a completable 1, completing 2 column. This right here has 4 down, 4 blue, and 2 to go, so we don't know which one of these 2 will be blue. We'll leave that alone for now. But this, however, already has 1 blue, so the rest mark as black. If the music just cut off, it's because I had to do a nice pause here to take care of something. But let's keep going. We were at completing this diagonal of 1. So it spawns a 2, which is completed right here. And spawns a 1 right here. We can interact with this one using the 6, I think. The 6 has 2 blues and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go. But since 2 of these can only be, since in 2 of these only 1 can be blue, we technically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means that this, and this are blue. Now, technically this is already satisfied because we know that one of them will be here, but we are left to see which one, so we don't need the column anymore. This column right here can be completed through this, which is nice. Now let's see, we have the middle column right here, consecutive 6, we already have 3 to start. and one path is blocked by a black cell. So we just go the other way and complete the 6 consecutive cells. This is black, completed column. Now what else can we do right here? We can complete this column right here, which already has 3 and 2 to go. We can complete this column right here, which already has 1 and 3 to go. And we can complete also this column, which has 44 and 4 to go. Nice arrangement right here. I like this pattern. Can we do something with this? 1, 2 already. 1, 2, 3, 4 to go. So we completed. Completing this one right here, spawning another one. And we go from, let's see. Oh, we have this diagonal right here, which is completed. 1, 2, 3, 4 blues. Mark the rest as black. There you go, we solved this one case, which is this blue. Now we have a nice 0 here, completing the middle donut. Now we have this 3 right here, which already has 1 and 2 to go, so we mark this as blue. We have this 4 right here, which is already completed. 1, 2, 3, 4 blues, so these are black. Spawns 2 nice 2s. And now we have 6 to go. 1, 2, 3 right here, 4, 5 here, 7 right here. So we can't use the column, so let's use diagonal. This diagonal right here has 1 and 1 to go, so I mark that as blue. This diagonal right here has 5 already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I mark this as black. Now this in turn is completable with this one. And now this one is already completed, I see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which means that all these 4 cells can be inferred by the remaining 4 or by each of their respective columns. Which means they all are all blue. There you go. And that was a lot for today. A lot of explaining to do. I'll leave it at that for now because I don't want to go past 30 minutes. And I have a feeling that if we access the next one, we're gonna be way over 30 minutes. So that's it for today. I think I'll be back soon. Bye bye.